We're now in the middle of November, and is it too late to publish books for quarter 4? Take a look at this video and find out.
Here I go.
Hello Home Bosses, my name is Nuria Korbi from thehomeboss.com. Welcome to my channel, which is all about helping you to make money online. And if that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe and click the notification bell to receive more videos like this. So today I want to talk to you about whether it is too late to publish books for quarter 4. So it's now the middle of November, and I'm telling you that it's not too late. The only problem that we're having at the moment is that Amazon is taking a long time to review your books. So when you publish a book and you put it on Amazon, it's taking quite a few days for Amazon to make the book go live. But I have noticed that some books take longer than others, and if you're producing notebooks and the typical low content books, then they do tend to take a lot longer. And I've had books that were just very low content books, and they took about 6 to 7 days. So it's like a week that they were in review. But then I've had other books that took only 2 days to review. So if you stick to making books with more content, then you've got a better chance of your books being published sooner. So what kind of books are Amazon approving quicker now, and that are good books to publish now in quarter 4? Well, the first ones that I will mention are colouring and activity books. Colouring and activity books are still being approved quite quickly, and they're relatively easy to make. I say easy, they're not that easy, not as easy as producing a notebook. But with the help of Creative Fabrica or Canva, or with any of the sites that give you the graphics to make colouring books, it is fairly easy to produce one using those kind of ready-made pages. Now, the only thing that you need to be aware of is that if everybody buys those kind of interiors, then we all end up having the same type of interiors, and that's not good. So when you buy a ready-made colouring book interior, make sure that you change something about the pages, and you can do that by either adding elements to them, or you can add different pages from different sources. So if you're buying just from one person on Creative Fabrica, for example, and you don't change anything about the interior, then you're running the risk that somebody else will publish the same kind of book. But you can buy from, say, 2 or 3 different sellers and then mix and match the interiors. And also don't forget to niche down and make them about a particular subject. And I know a lot of people are making Christmas colouring books and Christmas activity books, but really there's no problem in making other type of colouring books, because people will still buy them as Christmas presents. They don't have to be themed for Christmas particularly, and that way you can sell them throughout the year as well. So that's colouring and activity books. And as I always say, the other ones that you can publish for quarter 4 are planners, and that is because people like to buy planners in the first quarter after Christmas, and they, I find, are being approved fairly quickly by Amazon as well. The next ones that I want to mention that are very good for quarter 4 are prayer and gratitude journals. So they tend to sell very well because people like to give them as gifts, and also because people like to use them. And you can really niche down on prayer and gratitude journals, because they're no different to any other book. You can still make a gratitude journal for teachers or for nurses or for whatever niche that you're choosing. So you have a really wide selection there to work on. And the next type of book that I want to mention is good old notebooks. Notebooks are still good sellers, especially if you target the gift market and especially if you make them funny. The only thing that I will say is notebooks are taking longer to approve by Amazon. So they're not strictly in the kind of category that I wanted to tell you about, because I wanted to tell you the ones that are approved fairly quickly by Amazon, and notebooks unfortunately are taking a bit longer, but I still think that it's worth making them. Don't go overboard making them, don't spend too much time just on notebooks, but they are still something that can sell, especially at this time, more at this time than at any other time of the year. The other one that I wanted to tell you about, and this for me is probably the one that I like the best at this time, and that is the children's activities and coloring books. So I know I mentioned activity and coloring books earlier, but now we're talking specifically about children's books. That can include coloring books and activity books, but also don't forget that children really like bedtime stories, and it's not that difficult to produce a children's book. If you have made coloring books and you've made activity books, then you can easily make children's books. You just need to get some really good graphics and interiors. You can make a color book. Remember to keep it under 40 pages so that it doesn't work out too expensive, because when we publish books in color, they are much more expensive than books in black and white. But if you keep it under 40 pages, it is still very, very affordable to do. And actually, let me know if anybody is interested in maybe a course on how to make children's bedtime stories or children's books in general, because I have a way of making them that is a bit different to other people's children's books. Normally, when people want to make a children's book, they have a story, and then they try and find someone who can illustrate that story, and then they go and find editors, and it's quite a complicated process. And I bypass all of that, and I have produced a children's book that is selling fairly well, and I've only really produced 2 so far in that series. It's a series of books, and the beauty about children's books is that you can produce them in a series so that you can add to the story all the time. And I do them in a way that is a little bit back to front. I don't think of the story first. I find my images and then I produce a story. So if you want to know more about that, let me know in the comments, because if anybody's interested, I would love to make a course about that. And it wouldn't be a very expensive course. It would only be like a mini course or something. So if there's any interest in that, let me know, because that would be quite a different way of creating children's books to how they are done conventionally. And it's a fun way of creating them, and it's not that difficult. So children's books is another really good seller for Q4. So I just want to show you what type of children's books sell well on Amazon, and I'm on the bestseller page here. So you can see the kind of books that people are selling. The Learn to Write workbook. This is one that I see very often, and it's number 2. So this one is a really good example for a kind of learning or teaching book. And here we have the unicorn coloring books. So coloring books, another one here. You can see how popular they are. And here we have a Would You Rather book. And if you remember, I made a few videos on how to make Would You Rather books. So that's quite a good one to have for Q4 as well. There's another Would You Rather book here. And then we also have I Spy books. They're really good for children and they're quite popular. And if you notice this book here, Bluey the dog, this one is the kind of book that I'm talking about, where you can make a story and then you can have several editions or several series. So you can have one here that says Goodnight Fruit Bat, and then there's one called The Creek, but they're all about Bluey the dog. And it's a good idea to create a character like Bluey or like any character that you invent and that you can think of, and then create children's books around that. And bedtime stories are a really, really good seller. So these are the kind of examples that I wanted to show you. There's another handwriting practice book, so they're quite popular as well. As you know, there is a lot of competition in these though. So I made a few handwriting practice workbooks and I found them difficult to get going. I don't know whether you have made any and you've got any experience in them. Let me know what you think about them. I feel that they have been a little bit slow for me, but maybe you have had more luck with these books. So that would be interesting to see if anybody has had luck with the handwriting practice workbooks. There are lots and lots of other books that you can make. And I will also, if I do make that course, I will also show you how you can actually promote those books in a different way to using Amazon ads, because these are the kind of books that you can really promote very well on social media and other means of promoting books that are not advertising. So this is just some of the ideas that I can think of for Q4 and that I have had a good experience with. So let me know if this is of any help to you. Let me know if you're interested in the children's book course, and if you have any questions at all, leave them below the video and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you very much again for watching this video. I really appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much and see you in my next video. Bye bye.